Okay, welcome back to members of 121 Community Church in Grapevine, Texas, in our ongoing study in Human Nature and Its Remaking by W.E. Hocking, published in 1918. We're going to look at our final lesson, chapters 44 through the end of the book, from page 379 to 417. It's going to look at fulfillment, the transformation of the self, the objective presence of divine aggression, and the reality of metaphysical recognition. We're going to look at the fulfillment. How do we reach fulfillment of kingdom? Let's begin with block 1 and take a look at transformation. And Hocking begins by saying that we interpret human instincts as will to power, and we interpret will to power as passion for souls, and this becomes our Christian imperative. Christianity makes supreme devotion to the state as impossible. Christianity demands the complete transformation of all human instincts, and the dialectic itself leads to this requirement. And under our theory of value, Christianity posits a metaphysical faith and a metaphysical hope enriched by the dialectic of positing and expression. It asks, how is ethical experience possible? And the self must take up the attitude of creative artist that draws that picture in the realm of positing. And this task is empowered by a power conferred upon the self. So let's ask about the note 3, conferred dunamis power. It's a power within which we participate. Any quality that we internalize and name with a sign creates a permanent source of change within the self. An eidos idea is a value that has been internalized and named. And any affirmation of an idea also includes a negation of moral conceit, or in other words, the attribute of humility. So what does it mean to move from state of mind to positing? We posit our praxis out of a basis of hope. We strive to bring into the light that which is currently marginalized in the world and in society. In this way, our ideas make a connection with objective reality. Positing rises up out of the conviction of the state of mind. We work through that which we worship. Ambition becomes the instinct to live well. But our realm of positing rises up out of that conviction, or Sophia wisdom, of the state of mind. Remember, Sophia is wisdom of the heart, state of mind. So transformation takes place through that dialectic of positing and expression. Positing and expression in note 2 there, 2b. The dialectic of positing and expression brings about the transformation of self-identity. But on the objective side, there's the presence of divine aggression, divine movement of spirit, which Hocking calls divine aggression. That seems like a strange term, but it goes along with his term of dialectic of pugnacity. Remember the fighting the good fight? So it goes along with that concept of the dialectic of pugnacity. So under divine aggression, which is movement of spirit, we look at life as conferred. The unresolved problem of evil stands in our way. Our reconciliation with reality must be brought to the self from outside, and life itself is always something conferred upon the self from outside, as a mental epigenesis. As we mature from one level of value to another level of value. This takes place in note 2 through the Klesis call of Christ, as a summoning to selfhood. Does the Klesis call of Christ confer a state of mind upon the self? The self does not exist as a closed monad, says Hocking. The self possesses an already innate moral appetite, and through social interaction and social dialectic, we acquire new eidos ideas. We assent to these ideas through our attitude of adoption. We adopt these ideas into ourselves. But Hocking calls this movement of spirit as the spirit as aggressive lover. the Spirit breaks in upon our critical egoism and wins our response. God incarnates the earth to bring men to their true selves. There comes a presentation of recognition, like with Paul on Damascus Road. God's will is a will to power that is coming to itself. Now understand that sounds very much like Hegel, but you have to interpret it within Hocking's personalism. God's will is a will to power that is coming to itself through finite spirit, through humanity. God is active in history, in his suffering there, and spirit, as active in history, allows us to equate history with the drama of God's life in the remaking of humanity. And everywhere we find the divine interest seeking and saving finite persons. So we begin with this subjective transformation that takes place. If you look at block 1, note 2b, our transformation of the self takes place through the dialectic of positing and expression. Positing and expression within dialectic. But objectively, we move over to block 2, and we've got an objective drama of God's life that is present in objective reality as the movement of spirit, as God being incarnate in the earth to bring men to their true selves, to bring humanity to true humanity. And it happens through a summoning that stirs our innate moral appetite, a summoning of a Klesis call of Christ, that summons our moral appetite, our moral instinct. And so the subjective and the objective moment lead to block 3, and the real as metaphysical recognition. The realm of the real becomes the realm of metaphysical recognition. So let's take a look at block 3. Recognition. Our interpretation of dialectic is always retrospective. The function of religion is to empirically announce God. An announcement that is only perceivable by those who understand their own needs. We recognize our need within the realm of the real. Religion calls the finite self unto this recognition within the realm of the real. Then under relation, every self lives by their own vision. The self lives, and this is a key statement, the self lives in the solitude of ultimate relation. We live in the solitude of being ultimately related to the absolute of the drama of God's presence and the movement of spirit in real reality. And then 2C, this takes place through a process of recognition through instincts. That's what we've been looking at, how to transform instincts, because instinct recognizes need. And Hocking says the self needs to acquire the metaphysical facts, the metaphysical conditioning of instincts. So recognition and relation lead to reality. They lead to the real. Metaphysical findings from the self's vital instinct of state of mind emerge. They form the actual state of mind, those metaphysical findings. We mature in our ability to discern the difference between true perception and dreams. We critically judge experience by our self-conscious reason. We then are equipped to form and release signs. And notice that he uses the term release because signs are self-actualizing, so we release them. Once we form a sign, it has the power to actualize itself. So we form and release signs. We form and release them. It becomes that kind of action. Our life is balanced between being both mystic, in forming our notions of the true, and critical in our work of praxis dialectic. We balance theoretical ideas and pragmatic promise. Honor is that which is achieved through the instinct for self-knowledge. Confidence and tenderness, or confidence and compassion, become byproducts of our value beliefs. We posit the notion of world shepherdhood, because the absolute is present objectively, seeking and saving humanity. There's a paternal sympathy that spreads from the center outward within reality and through values reaching their metaphysical conditioning. So this work of the objective divine aggression, the movement of spirit, and our subjective participation in transformation bring about metaphysical conditioning of our self-identity and the values that make up our self-identity. They must be metaphysically conditioned. And so it's all about the transformation that takes place in the realm of positing, which is the realm of the real, and the expression in dialectic that becomes our participation in a transformation of self-identity. And it's all about forming signs, eidos, ideas that become named. They become named. We name them and we systematize them and posit them in a practical way. So transformation begins with sign formation. It begins with sign formation. And then from sign formation, we enter into the objective reality where Hocking says God is present. Movement of spirit is present as a drama of God's life in remaking creation. A drama of God's life in remaking creation itself. And it's divine personality seeking finite personality. This is personalism. Divine personality seeks out finite personality. Because what's that key statement? It's that we have the absolute coming to itself through finite persons. We see that in Block 2, Note 3D. God's will is a will to power that is coming to itself through finite spirit. It's the suffering action of the movement of spirit from dunamis to energia, and that is described by Hocking as God's will coming to itself. God goes out of himself incarnately through finite humanity, and then Gyro raises up humanity in a reunion with himself. So it's God coming to himself through his divine aggression in objective reality, which we participate in through positing and expression. That brings about a process. The entire book has been about this process of metaphysical conditioning of the values that define self-identity. This manuscript is all about acquiring metaphysical conditioning of values that define selfhood. What does it mean to be the true self? What are the values that make up a true self, and how are they metaphysically conditioned subjectively and objectively? Well, they're formed subjectively through sign formation. We internalize and we posit the signs. We form and release the signs that can self-actualize themselves. We do that based on the conviction of state of mind. Then we participate in the objective reality of the divine will coming to itself. The divine will coming to itself. So we have a recall triad here of transformation through subjective positing and expression of signification signs. Then we have the objective, our participation in the objective reality of divine will as a will to power coming to itself through finite spirit. And through those two moments we reach metaphysical conditioning of our values, and we mature in state of mind, and it matures our entire next movement through the dialectic. That's going to wrap up a tremendous study in human nature and remaking by W.E. Hocking, published by Yale University Press in 1918. And we'll pick up next time as we discuss our next project in our next life group meeting.